Is it time to sing?
La 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 la. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Let's try to follow Ten Hag's journey at United in a somewhat chronological manner. We'll start with the most notable signings made by Manchester United in the 22-23 season. The most accurate way to put it is transfers made by Ten Hag in his first season. Considering the transfers made, it's clear that Ten Hag was responsible for the transfer dealings. Let's begin with Christian Eriksen. I think it was a very good transfer, considering it was a free transfer and that he performed well during his time at the club. However, the effects of his age are starting to show in the 23-24 season. But in summary, a good short-term acquisition. Tyrell Malaysia. To be honest, I barely remembered he existed. Initially, he seemed like a reasonable young player with some potential to grow. However, he hasn't shown much so far, possibly due to playing in one of United's stronger positions. Was it a necessary signing? No, as he didn't add quality to the squad, but a decent option off the bench, but unlikely to progress beyond that. Still, not a bad deal for 15 million euros. Lisandro Martinez, a sick transfer, possibly the best in the past 2 years. Despite initial doubts, he demonstrated a high level, justifying the 57 million euros spent on him. He added quality to a defence that needed it badly. Casemiro, one of the best defensive midfielders of the last decade. He has generally performed well, bringing a necessary upgrade to the midfield. However, I have doubts about the business side. Paying 71 million euros and a high salary for a 30-year-old player doesn't seem like the best deal. Antony, a catastrophe. One of the worst transfers in recent times. The pressure Ten Hag put on the United board to finalise the deal at any cost. He's a decent player, but the price, 95 million euros, is outrageous. HAG'S robbed Manchester United in front of everyone, and they are still free. The Glazers and Ten Hag should be slapped in the face to learn not to be suckers. While you're at it, slap the like and subscribe button. As for the loaned players Weghorst and Sabitzer, they did a decent job, serving the purpose of filling gaps in the squad. Although Weghorst's transfer wouldn't have been necessary if Ten Hag hadn't decided to part ways with the best player at the club in the previous season and a GOAT contender. I've already addressed this topic in a previous video, so I won't go back to discussing the same subject. However, if you're interested, feel free to check it out. In summary of the first year's transfers, there are positives like Eriksen, Casemiro, and especially Lisandro Martinez. However, there are two big negatives, the Antony deal and the Cristiano Ronaldo saga. In terms of on-field performance, the very anticipated style of football that Ten Hag had in Ajax didn't materialise at United. However, I don't blame Ten Hag for that. He tried to implement it, but quickly realised that it didn't suit the squad, so he adapted his playing style to the available players. Results-wise, they finished solidly in third place in the league, won the EFL Cup against Newcastle, and reached the FA Cup final, where they lost the derby against City. In the Europa League, they reached the quarter-finals, losing to the eventual winners, Sevilla. But it took Marcus Rashford to become one of the best players in the world during this period, for Manchester United to have these results, which doesn't seem very sustainable to me, as in the past, he was only able to have a similar production in the 1920th season. Despite challenges, Ten Hag brought a desired title to Manchester United after many years, having an overall solid first season. Now, moving to the current season, 23-24, Ten Hag continued building the Ajax United in Manchester, bringing in Andre Onana for the goalkeeping position. I won't dwell on his start of the season. Everyone knows how it's going. I knew he had a mistake or two in him, but damn, this is too much. Let's hope for United that he will get his shit together. The initial issue I had with this transfer when rumours started boiling up was that the goalkeeper position, it shouldn't have been a priority for Manchester United, because there were other positions where a quality upgrade was more urgent. De Gea, though not exceptional with his feet, was solid enough as a goalkeeper. and this 50 million euros could have been better spent in other needed positions. Rasmus is a promising young talent who showed good signs at Atalanta. However, a 74 million euros transfer fee seems too much for me. I think it was an overpayment, like 90% of transfers done by the Glazers. But since a striker was needed and he had shown some potential, we will let it slide. Mason Mount, a very good player, had a rough start in Manchester due to injuries after a weak 22-23 season at Chelsea. But taking into account that he only had 1 year left on his contract with Chelsea, 64 million for him. The pile of bad deals continues to grow. Sergio Reguilon and Johnny Evans are okay transfers, addressing emergency and squad depth needs respectively. Sofian Amrabat took too long to arrive. I don't know much about his game, but he seems decent with passing and ball progression. A reasonable loan fee of 9 million euros with a 25 million euros buy option. If he performs well and the permanent transfer is finalized, it's a good deal. Otherwise, I have my doubts. In general, it was an okay transfer window, with Mount adding quality to the squad, an expensive gamble in a promising striker. Amrabat, seemingly adding passing and defensive quality to the midfield. Onana, it's good with his feet. Let's leave it at that. In football terms, this start to the season has been horrible. And if we can argue that Manchester United is being unlucky outside off the pitch due to injuries, within the pitch, they end up being very lucky. They've had pretty bad performances, but with a bit of luck here and there, they've managed to get some results and accumulate some points. And after having an epic game against Aston Villa, in which they turned the result around after being down by 2 goals, a game which I thought could be a turning point in Manchester United's season. But in the next game, not to mention that they came last in their Champions League group, thus leaving them out of Europe. Given that, FC Copenhagen, who was in Manchester United's group, was able to qualify for the playoff stage with a total investment of half of Onana in the last 2 seasons, it seems pretty bad. So, the big question, should the bald Dutchman be fired? I must admit I'm not impartial due to what he did to Cristiano Ronaldo. In my opinion, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who it seems will be responsible for all football decisions, should keep Ten Hag for now, unless they can secure top-notch replacements like Don Carlos, the teeth of Germany, or the other bald dude, which I doubt. One of Sir Jim's first actions should be to hire a competent director of football and a top chief scout with proven track records as soon as possible. And they should work with Ten Hag on transfers in this winter transfer window and the next summer transfer window. And the final decision and authority on all deals should rest with the director of football. If, after this, the results continue to disappoint, well, it is time to say bye-bye.